Hello and welcome to Monday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where loads and loads of you have been asking me to have a go at the brand new Phistomefel puzzle called Border Square Diagonals. I'm going to try it for you. I've just read the rules before I turned on the webcam, and I am astonished this has a unique solution. Let me just basically explain to you. You can see there's not much going on. There's not much grid furniture in this grid. And the idea is that if you can construct 2x2 regions that cross a box border, so like that would be one of them. And what the instructions say is that the two diagonals in this 2x2 add to the same number. So the two diagonals on that one add to the same number. The two diagonals on that one add to the same number. The two diagonals on that one add to the same number. They don't have to be the same number between. So it doesn't have to be, this one doesn't have to add to the same one as that one. But that's all the rules. The only other rule is that the grey ones don't add to the same number. And there's two tiny arrows. And that is all the rules. It's absolutely perplexing. But Phistomefel is a complete genius. Always makes me feel utterly inadequate. But I don't mind being made to feel inadequate. If I manage to solve a Phistomefel puzzle, I feel slightly adequate at that point. It's just the process that going from sort of unsolved to solved that makes me feel inadequate. But anyway, this is what I'm hoping to try for you I'm going to try it in today's video. I hope I will be able to solve it. We shall see. And I'll read the rules properly in a moment or two's time. But Maverick, that's taken you 1 minute 43 seconds. Maverick's about to buzz the window. I'm so sorry. Anyway, what else have I got to tell you? On Wednesday night at 10 p.m, Mark and I are streaming the game Braid. This is Jonathan Blow of The Witness. His first game, although they've just released this anniversary edition, which I think has updated graphics or something. So this is what we plan to try. Apparently it's good. I'm hoping it doesn't require awesome levels of coordination, or we could be in trouble. But we'd love to have your company for that if you're free. Other news, where we are closing in slowly on 600,000 subscribers on YouTube. We're under 5,000 subscribers away. If we get there, we're going to release a brand new free puzzle pack to the world, filled with puzzles to celebrate reaching such an incredible milestone for us. And some of the constructors of the puzzles in that pack are people like Codec, Piotr V, Peter Venus, James Sinclair, and also Phistomefel. So if you do this puzzle and you think you'd like more Phistomefel, that's one way to get more Phistomefel. And then the only other thing I wanted to mention, in fact, speaking of Phistomefel, is what's going on over on Patreon. We have my solve of a different Phistomefel puzzle. That one is called Sky-Skyscrapers. It's jolly hard and brilliant, but jolly hard. So that's over there now. And also, this is the big news. On the 1st of June, we have the Lord of the Rings Sudoku hunt coming. This is Blobz magnum opus. Incredible, incredible stuff. Filled with the artwork of Ted Nasmith, one of the world's leading Tolkien artists. And this is a special one. I might have another picture of... Yeah, here we go. Here's another. Oh, that might be too big. But hopefully you get the idea. It's just gorgeous. And yeah, 4 p.m. UK time on the 1st of June. That is when that competition launches. So look out for that. And then I've got some birthdays to talk about. So let's start by wishing Louis a very happy birthday from your girlfriend Lucy. Louis apparently watches every day, and therefore so does Lucy. That's what Lucy wrote in the email. So Lucy, thank you for writing, and Louis, many happy returns. I hope you get chocolate cake today. Next to Long, down there in Australia, from your partner Mo, who described you as one of the most, the most incredible person she's ever met, and you make her heart sing. You wild thing, you. And she wanted to wish you many happy returns. So Long, happy birthday down there in Australia, and to the two of you, good luck with the arrival of your little boy in July. Next, Natasha and Maxwell, twins, turning 18 today, over there in Wallingford, Vermont. And I know this because your mum Molly wrote to us and said you might like a shout out. And I got sent by Molly a picture of the chocolate cake you're getting. and this looks splendid to me. I can't quite tell how much icing there is, but I'm going to trust Molly that there's a good deal of icing. So that looks absolutely brilliant. And Natasha and Maxwell, I think you're going to have a good day. Many happy returns. Then to Dom from your sister Alexandra down there in Melbourne, Australia. A city I've visited on a few occasions. I have relatives in Melbourne, or just outside Melbourne, Mount Eliza. Dom, I hope you have a great birthday today. And then finally, Rohit. Rohit, your friend Trishla wrote and said that you watched, and apparently we've become part of your bedtime routine. And you once described the joy of watching a Cracking the Cryptic video and a solve as like watching your favourite football team score a goal. That's an incredible analogy. I hope it really does make people think like that. And Rohit, anyway, many happy returns. Trishla wrote a lot of very nice things about you, I can tell you that, and I hope you have a great birthday today. Now, let's do the rules properly. A Phistomefels puzzle. Let's see if I can do this. Border square diagonals. These are the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. So we have to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box. Digits along an arrow must sum to the digit in that arrow's circle. So these two digits add up to that. So let's do some example. If that's a 4 and that's a 3, that would be a 7. That's how it works. And then what else have we got now? Well, now we've got the border square rule. A border square is a 2x2 square that crosses at least one box border. So that is a border square, for example. In fact, let's do an example of the rule as I understand it. So we'll highlight this one. And it then says, for all border squares, except for the 4 marked in grey, its 2 diagonals sum to the same number. The diagonals of different border squares may sum to different numbers. So let's use the pen tool. So what that's saying is that we sum those 2 digits. So let's make that 6 and that 9. And that's 15. So these two would have to add up to 15. So they could be 8 and 7. Now, have I got that wrong, or is that correct? I think that's correct. That's how I understand the rule. For all border squares, except for the 4 marked in grey, its 2 diagonals sum to the same number. Yeah, and they do. So I think it's that. And we have to apply that throughout the grid, and then the world will be a happy place. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now, I get to play. Let's get cracking. I have done... Phistomefel did another puzzle that had a similar rule set to this, but it was slightly less mad in the sense that I think the border, like the 2x2s in that puzzle, had to, it was something like sum to a multiple of 8 or something. And you could do that. You could sort of use that, I remember, to get some relationships with dominoes on the edge of the grid, or it was something like that. So I suppose what we have to do here is to use the secret, do we? Well, maybe, I don't know. So what I'm thinking is, I know a secret about Sudoku. I share it with my very favourite people. If you're watching this video, you're definitely one of my favourite people, so I'll definitely tell you the secret. The secret is that a whole column of a Sudoku, indeed a whole row of a Sudoku, or a whole box of a Sudoku, because of the rules of Sudoku, contains the digits 1 to 9 once each. If you sum those digits, you get 45. Now that's the secret. But in this puzzle, I think it might be 2 whole columns or 2 whole rows that's more interesting. So 2 whole columns of a Sudoku sum to 90. Now, oh, a bird just, oh, that wasn't Maverick, that was a bird. Now, how can I use that? So if I know those, yeah, okay, so that congregation of digits there is an even congregation of digits. What do I mean by that? Well, what I mean by that is that because, let me draw it in, because that diagonal and that diagonal add up to the same number, and let's say that number was x, then those 4 cells must sum to 2x, and 2x is even. So the same, if I do that one, that's another even 2 by 2. I'll do that one. That's another even 2 by 2. I'll do that one. That's another even 2 by 2. So all of the coloured cells I've just highlighted are even in total. The whole column, or 2 whole columns, sum to 90, which is even. So these 2 squares add up to even. Right, is that helpful? Is it helpful if you know? I think in the other puzzle we were much better off than that. We knew they added up to 10 or something. Can we do it a different way? Yes, okay. So those 2 are also even by that logic. Alright, hang on, I'm going to notate. That one, these 2 cells add up to an even number. Well, is it parity then? Hang on, I've just had another thought. Is it parity? Because those must have the same parity if they add up to an even number. They're either both odd or both even, aren't they? They can't be even and odd, because even and odd would sum to odd. I don't know. But the other thing I was going to think about was this. If I start my 2 by 2s in a different place, that 2 by 2, that must sum to even, that must sum to even, that must sum to even. Let's use orange. Now, if I pinch that one sums to even, because it doesn't overlap fully with the grey. So this domino, because the whole column, again, sums to 90, and all the coloured cells add to even, that is also an even domino. Which, okay, let's just think about that a bit more, because doesn't that mean that's even, or is that wrong? That in that 2 by 2, the overall, yeah, of course it does. Yeah, the overall sum of that 2 by 2 I know is even, but I know those 2 add up to even, so these 2 add up to even. So those have also got the same parity, and that's going to go up the column, isn't it? Because that has the same property, then that has the same property, then that has the same property, then that has the same property, and then you end up there. So actually, in this column, there are an awful lot of dominoes that contain digits of the same parity. So each, I don't know what these are, but, so I don't know if this is 2 odds or 2 evens, and then I don't know if this is 2 odds or 2 evens, but that's, and then this one is going to break this up somehow, is it? But that doesn't, I don't really understand this. So if that's 4 and that's 6, so I've just made those the same parity. Then what are these? These are total. Well, no. All you know is a very tiny bit of information about these, which is that these digits are selected such that the diagonals don't add to the same number. Oh golly, that's horrible. That's so. Probably what we're meant to do is to try and overlap these common, like, you know, double even or double odd dominoes with rows somehow, aren't we? So let's just see what that would look like if we do that and that and that and that. That would work. Then we get another parity domino there. And let's just see if we can pull the trick that we pulled over here. Now, how do I do that? Because I can't start there because that's going to overlap the grey one. Oh, bobbins. That's ridiculous. That's totally and utterly... Oh, it's much less useful. Because here I can't propagate it. Because I can't... This is in exactly the wrong place, which means that's going to be in the wrong place as well, isn't it? Yeah, because look how this is going to work in column 6 and 7. We're going to get that domino, this domino, and then that domino. That's fine. Let's make that red. So this is a parity domino, because each coloured 2 by 2 adds to an even number. But if I want to split this column up in some other way, which is what I was able to do here, because of the position of this grey thingy, I could sort of overlap it from the other direction, which I can't do here because it's too close to the edge. So it'll probably work better with this one then. How's that going to look? So if we go there, there. Sorry, I'll do it in. Let's do it in colours. There and there. Yeah, that gets me another one. That's a parity domino. Now, yeah, well, actually, that one's useful because if I can get one in the middle of the grid, I can propagate it. Because this one, I can't propagate it left because the left 2 by 2 overlaps the whole grey thing. But I can propagate it right because that 2 by 2 must add to an even number overall. So if those are even, that's even as well. So that's even, that's even, that's even, and that's even. Now, can we go the other way though? Can I... So I have... No, it's weird actually. That's weird. It can't. I don't think it works. How could this possibly have a unique solution? It's absolutely ludicrous. I know these all have similar parities. It must be this column. This column is by far the most restricted. Well, and when I say restricted, I mean I've got more dominoes in it that have common parity. I don't understand this. I don't understand this at all. Am I missing something about the actual numbers here? Let's do some examples and try and work out how this works. So, what did we have before? We made 15 dominoes, didn't we? Let's do that. So we made that 6, that 9, that 7, that 8. Now, is that in any way wrong? No. That clearly works. And then this one, that number is going to be, providing that number is 1 less than this number, the yellow 2 by 2 will work, won't it? So let's put 3 and 4 there. That's quite interesting. So what that's showing That is interesting, actually. Sorry, I realised I stopped speaking then. I'm just trying to mull that over for a moment. The thing I'm noticing is that you always have a common difference. Ah, is it? You always have a common difference. That actually does make sense now I think about it. Not only do you have a common difference between the dominoes in these cells here, but you always have this side is always higher than this side by 1. So yes, that's all. All right. Right. Okay, this is really okay. Hopefully everybody can see that this example is actually very helpful, at least to me, because what I'm seeing is that in any domino, one of the numbers will be bigger than the other. And then that effect sort of has to be the effect of one number being greater than the other has to be reversed out, if you like, by the cell above it. But because we're looking at diagonals, the effect of that, because 9 is 1 greater than 8, we need the 8 to get 1 more than the 9 gets in this row. But because we're looking at diagonals, the higher number is always on the same side as the higher number below it. And that's obviously propagating up the row. Now why is that interesting? Well, what I'm thinking now this might not be right. What I'm thinking is that one side of this, either that side or that side, is full of higher numbers, and one side's going to have more low numbers. Because obviously if we extend this up the grid, we're going to have loads of high numbers on the right and loads of low numbers on the left. So that's going to be the same here. Right. Okay. So, okay, let's think about, I'm going to think about this slightly differently. What is the common difference? What is the difference? Let's look at this domino. What is the difference between one side of this and the other? And the answer is I have not got a Scooby-Doo, except I sort of have got a little bit of a clue. Because these numbers have the same parity, whether they're odd or even, the difference between those two numbers is even. Imagine this was, 8 and 4. The difference between 8 and 4 is even. If this was 9 and 7, the difference is even, isn't it? Because these have the same parity, the difference is even. So down this column, or down these two columns, there's going to be a high side and a low side. And the high side is going to be an even difference, so a difference of 2, 4, 6 or 8 to the low side. But that's interesting. I think that means the difference is 2, doesn't it? Because if the difference was 4, how could you... if the difference is 4 between the high side and the low side here, let's say this is the high side, which means these digits are 4 lower than these digits. Well, where am I going to put the 3 in this column? That would be my question. That would be my first question. The 3 can't go in any of these positions because the 3, this side, on this side of the line, we'd need a digit 4 lower than 3, and there are no such Sudoku digits. So the 3 would have to go down there. But then I'm going to say, okay, if my 3 goes down there, where am I putting the 2 in this column? Where am I putting the 1 in this column? There's nowhere. They'd all have to go down here. So what that means is that in this arrangement, the difference between the low and the high side of these is 2. And then, right, so I know what these are. These are 1, 2, 8, and 9. Because you can't put... this is very hard to explain. It's very hard to explain because I don't know which way round this goes. But let's imagine this is high. Let's make high numbers hot. They can be sunny numbers and these cold. It might not be this way round. But let's just assume this is the case. Now, where could I put the 9 and the 8 in the cold numbers? Bearing in mind the hot numbers have to be 2 greater. You can't put the 8 and the 9 here, can you? So these would have to be an 8-9 pair. And where in the hot numbered column, where can you put the 1 and the 2? Because the cold side of that line would have to be 2 different. And 2 different than 2 is 0, 2 different than 1 is -1. That's no use. So these have to contain the numbers 1, 2, 8, 9. That is not. Well, okay. Oh, good grief. It's so simple now. This is beautiful. The logic here is beautiful because now this is the high. Well, no, hang on. Well, that's high. So we know this is also high, don't we? Because it's the high numbers that have not been able to be put in here. But does that mean that's actually... No, so these colours are the wrong way round, I think. Yes, they are. Yeah, because I can put 7 into these cells and have a 9 on this side because these are higher. So yeah, I've got the order. Well, I mean, it's actually a good thing in a way. The blue, and they're going to be high, and then these are going to be 1s and 2s, and I can put a 9 on the hot side because I can then shield that with a 7 on the cold side. But I couldn't have put a 1 or a 2 on the hot side because then I'd have had to put a 0 or a -1 on the cold side. Oh, this is gorgeous. So now... Well, now what? So now... Come on. We're nearly there, I think. When I say nearly there, I mean I almost understand it now, which is much better than I was doing before. So... Oh, So I've just totally missed the point here, haven't I? Sorry, yeah, I think I might have done. What I'm now thinking of is that if we look at row 6 and row 7 combined, the only 2x2 that disobeys the rule, that disobeys the common difference rule, is that one. So all along here we get overlapping 2x2s that all have to obey this rule. Before finally... So on one... Yeah, okay. So on one side... Sorry, I'm just going to get rid of this. Oh no, I don't know if I want to get rid of that. I want to sort of remember it. I'm going to get rid of it momentarily. Because I just want to focus on this. Now, one side here is going to be high again, and one side is all going to be lower. And what that makes me want to say is that... Oh, what was that noise? Sorry. I think there was a big noise. Oh, I think something fell out of my pocket. That doesn't matter. What I want to say is that isn't this a 1-9 pair then? Because on the... Yeah, that must be right. This is a 1-9 pair. So that means that's going to be a 1-9 pair as well. Because in this row, let's say this was the high digits and this was the low digits. Again, it's the same point, isn't it? We can't put a 1 in the high digits because this would have to be a lower number than a 1 to maintain this relationship between the numbers. So, and then vice versa. On the cold side, you can't put a 9 in because this would have to be a 10 or higher. But does that mean... Does that mean the difference is 1? Definitely in all these dominoes. Yeah, it does. It does mean that. That was my instinct, and I think it's correct, because in the high row, which might be this one, might be this one, but in that row there is going to be a 2, isn't there? And what are we going to partner the 2 with here? It must be the 1. And that establishes the difference of 1, which must propagate along the line. Oh, this is so brilliant. This is absolutely brilliant. So this... Right, I'm going to get rid of the colours again now because they might be wrong. Although they weren't, we do actually know them here, so I must remember that. I'm going to get rid of this because we don't need that anymore. I think I'm starting to understand it. So what we're now saying is that in these 2 rows, there is a difference of 1 between vertical dominoes. But I don't know which is the high side and which is the low side. In this, that must be exactly the same logic here. All of these 2x2s must have a common difference. One side will be high, all of one side, and then another side will be all lower digits. So 1 and 9 are going to be the problem digits, but I don't know the order. And there's a difference of 1 between all of those squares. Now this one I'm not really sure what I'm being told here. I'm being told that these digits... So, okay, these digits all have... These do have the same parity, so we're in this world again, aren't we? The difference between all of these digits is an even number. So all of those, on one side or another, right. Okay, I might be about... What I'm about to say might be silly, but let me... Overall... Yeah, got it, I think. Overall, the differences have to sort of... The differences have to match out or even out because both rows and columns have the same numbers in overall. So if, for example, all of those were bigger than all of these, then these will all have to be a bit bigger than these to even out the difference, such that overall, net, the difference between the 2 rows is 0. Now, that's interesting, isn't it? Because what you've got here is 5 lots of an even difference. And what you've got here Yeah, watch. All of those have the same difference. And then this breaks it up and all of these have the same difference, but with the additional bonus that we know the blue ones have an even difference. But yeah, but there are 5. So 5 times some difference here has to equal 4 times some difference there. So, right, so 5 times 4 is 20. There is no common multiple. I mean, it must be 20, mustn't it? Because what I mean is, I think what that's saying is that the difference here on the blue ones is 4, because if I do 4 times 5, I get 20, and then the difference here is going to be 5, because 5 times 4 is 20, and that's going to even out the differences overall. So say these were all heavy digits, high digits. These would all be high digits in the other direction, and overall, net, the row would balance. And that also, well, that's sort of confirmed by the fact I know for sure these have an even difference from the work we did earlier. So it's something to do with this. I don't understand it immediately, but it's going to be something to do with this arrow, isn't it? Because now I know that either this is yeah, I don't quite know how to show this. Let me go to the pen tool again. Go yellow. So I know that the difference between this digit and this digit is 4, but I don't know which is higher. And then I know the difference between this digit, say, and this digit is 1, because of the work we did earlier on understanding how 1 and 9 stick out. So does that mean the difference between this and this is 5? It might do. And well, more to the point, is it telling me that this is the higher digit in this row? Because if yeah, that must be right, mustn't it? I'm going to have to play with some numbers here to really convince myself this is true. But what I'm going to try and do is prove that this is not higher than this. So if this was higher than this, let's make this 7. Then we know, because we know that the blue differences are 4, we know this is a 3. And now this, it doesn't matter if this is higher. I mean, it doesn't matter. We know the difference in the yellow plane is 1, and the arrow doesn't work, does it? That's great. That's absolutely great, because that's telling us that these are high, and it's telling us these are low. And the difference on the blue arrows, or the blue struts, is 4. So I cannot put a digit, there cannot be 4 in these top digits. 4, 3, 2 or 1, because these would become 0 or negative. So these are a quintuple. These are 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a lot of pencil marking, and I hope you'll forgive me, but that is what's happening. Right, but... Right. But this... But which way round does this one go now? I know it looks like first blush. Not sure actually. This one I feel like that wants to be a massive digit. But so I want to make that 9, but maybe that could be high. I'm not sure. I'm genuinely not sure. If that's 8, then we know that this would be 4 different. So that would be a 4. And then this has to go in the same direction. And these are 1 different. So why couldn't it be that? They add up to 11. There might be a reason. I don't. I'm just trying to prove to myself why, because my instinct was this would be the higher side of this column, but that might not be right. I can't. Sorry, and I realise I've stopped talking. I'm just trying to understand it. Is there a reason why? Then by maths this would be 3, but I mean these numbers don't mean anything. I could have picked other numbers. 3, that would be 2. So at the top of the column, this column couldn't have a 9 in it. So that would be a 9 and that would be a 1. No, I don't know. I'm not sure. Wow. Okay, but let's keep thinking, because if we know these are all the high numbers in row 3, these are all the low numbers in row 3, and we know these are therefore all the high numbers in row 4, and we know the difference on this line. In order to make sure that overall we're net in the same position, these have to have a difference of 5. So one of these is going to be a 1 6, one of them is going to be a 2 7, one of them is going to be a 3 8, one of them is going to be a 4 9. Okay, right, maybe I should have started here. That is not 1 or 2, that is not 8 or 9. And what did we say the difference was? So so this is not 6 or 7. And this is not 3 or 4 now. Okay. And we'd already worked out, hadn't we, that this was the high side of these 2 columns. So these are higher than these. Oh, they're higher by 2, aren't they? That's what we worked out in this column. So if this is 3, this is 1. If this is 4, this is 2. And we can probably do something with that, can we? Oh, I've got something else. This is lovely. Right, in these 2 rows, we worked out that the difference between all these dominoes is 1. Well, if the difference between those digits is 1, this is odd. This must add up to an odd number. So that's a 9er. I've got a digit. 9, 8. I've got to make the diagonals add up to the same number, so let's reverse that out there. Oh, that's gorgeous. So this is a 4-5 pair. I probably know the order somehow. I don't actually know if I do know the order. I can't see how I know the order. Good grief. That's just... that's not a 4. Which means that's not a 9, because we have to... We have to preserve differences of 5 on this string. It's quite hard to keep track of this, actually. It really is. Okay, and let's check that the difference rule works according to my understanding of it, because I've got 7 differences of 2 here, which is 14 of difference. Yeah, and these two numbers both differ by 7 in the other direction, so I've got 14 of difference throwing the sort of weight back onto the left side from these being higher. So it's all about balance. We have to balance the force. Okay, well, let's try this one then. So that's not 1, and that's not 9. Now, what are the differences here? The differences are 4 on this side. So taking 1 out of here knocks 5 out of there. Taking 9 out of there takes 5 out of there. Right, disaster. There has been an enormous interruption just now. I have still been sat here. But I got a phone call that's meant I've had to make lots of other phone calls to try and arrange lifts for people, and that has been an enormous interruption. I've not been able to do anything on the puzzle. It has been in front of me, having said that, but I haven't been concentrating on it. And yeah, I'm sorry. And now I will have to. I'm going to have to reinvent the wheel, and that is not a good thing. But let's see. What on earth were we doing here? Let's go back a bit. We were... Okay, I put 4 and 5 in there. Why did I do that? That was because we worked out that there was a... Yeah, because there was a because there was a difference of 1 in these 2 rows. I remember that. And then we did something here. Okay, that's just Sudoku, isn't it? What were we worked out some differences, didn't we? These all had differences of... These all had differences of some sort or another, 4. And those, yeah, they all had differences of 5. Right, okay. So, and had I thought about this arrow? Let's think about the arrow again. What on earth had we concluded about this? Can I use this 1-9 pair to do something? What a 1 is over there, actually. Okay. Maybe Sudoku. Maybe I'll do some Sudoku first. There's a 9 over here by Sudoku, by using this 9 and the fact there's a 9 up there. No, okay, sorry. That's probably not it. He says, I'm trying to do Sudoku now. This is how desperate I've become. No, okay, let's go back to this arrow. Let's have a look at this. So what were we saying here? We were saying that yeah, there's some weirdities going on, isn't there? If this digit is definitely 4 bigger than this digit. But then this digit, I know it's 1 different because of this, but I don't know whether it goes up or down to get there. So let's just make that 7 for a moment and just let me think about that. So that's going to be a 3. This is going to be a 2 or a 4. 2 or a 4. So this digit is a 3 or a 5, depending on how this plays out. And that should be consistent, shouldn't it? If I make that 6, that's going to be 2. And then depending on which way round this goes, whether this is higher than this all down the column or whether this is lower than this all down the column. 6, 2, this will be 6, 2. This will be 1 or 3. Yeah, okay, and that this is 3 or 5. I mean, admittedly, it couldn't be double 3 in that situation, but there's no reason that this would necessarily have to be a 6. It could be when it was 7, that would work. Right. Okay, so that digit's restricted, I think, because this digit must be one different from this digit in a particular direction, which I'm now going to have to rework out again. Let's make that 7 again. Make that 3. I'm sorry about this. I was probably on the verge of basically doing this in some sort of sensible way before, but it's been a long gap. So if this is 7 and this is 3, this is 2 or 4. So if this is 2, what we're saying is that this is the high side of the equation. So if that's 2, that's 5. This is higher than 5, so that's 6. Whereas if this is 7, this is 3, and this is 4, then this side's higher. So that being 3 means that's 2, and this is 2 or 6. And that is absolutely useless. That's rotten. Okay, so that's... Okay, that's not how to do it. And depending on... Okay, and then depending... If that was 3, 2, then this side's higher. So we couldn't put 1 in here. So this would be 1. So if this is 3, 2, this is 1. If this is 5, 6, that's 9, presumably. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Oh dear. I'm really discombobulated now. Let's try and... I don't really know. I don't know whether I'm meant to... Where do I think it would be? Are they restricted? Because they have got to be... They've got to obey the rules for columns 3 and 4. Yeah, there was a 2 difference, wasn't there? There was a 2 difference in columns 3 and 4. And we do know the order. These are higher than these, according to that anyway. So this is the high side, this is the low side. But also, we've got these going on. So in the vertical dominoes here, let's put some vertical dominoes in. In those vertical dominoes, these are differences of 1. Now, what does that mean? And, well, that's not 9. Is that a valuable deduction? It's not 9, because that would be 8, and that would break that square, because these differ by 1. Oh, by the same token, that's not 3, because that would be 4. Okay, so that's not... It's not very extreme. So hang on, let's just write the options in. 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. That's pathetic, Simon. Hang on. If that's 4, that's 5, that's 4. Oh, I see. No, that still doesn't work. Does it? This might be absolute rubbish. I'm just going to check this logic though. If that's 4, that's 5 and that's 4. That's clear. But now the direction of travel along these 2 rows is that the bottom row is bigger than the top row. So this is a 3 to preserve the relationship. And that cell's still broken. So that doesn't work. So that's not 4. Alright, let's try that. Or maybe it doesn't work with 5 either. If that's 5, this is 4, this is 5. Now this that has to be higher. That's going to work, isn't it? Because now it's not under pressure. It's not under the pressure of that digit anyway. Okay, but now if that's 5, 6, 7 or 8, this digit is 2 lower than 5, 6, 7 or 8. So that digit is 3, 4, 5 or 6. I don't think this is the way to do this. Sorry. Maybe I can stop this being 8, because if that's 8, I know it can't. This can't be 9. So we have to be going. So again, the bottom row is higher, which means I would know that. That would be 6. And that would be 5. Now, is anything broken there? Maybe. Don't think so. No, this is absolute bobbin. Sorry. This is tricky, isn't it? Okay, let's try something else. Let's try. Oh, I can't. This can't be 6, 7. So if that is 6, that's 5. I'm just going to check that as well. Sorry, 6, 5. So now this has to be in that order. These have to be greater, so they have to be 7, 8. Oh, this is, have I just reinvented what I just looked at? I fear so. I think I've just reinvented literally what I just looked at from a different perspective. Okay, sorry. Okay. Okay, where is... Yeah, look at this row. 1 and 2 are in those squares somewhere. Which means one of these 2 digits... let's make that... what colour? Yellow. One of those 2 digits is a very low digit, and it can't go in there anymore. So one of these digits is in one of those squares and is very low, so it will have quite a low digit here. Which might be important. One of these digits is 6 or 7 as well. That's interesting, isn't it? If the 7 wasn't here, the 7 would go up there, and that would be a 9. It would have to go there. That would have to be 7, 9. 7 there, 9 there. That would be 8. That would be 6. If that's 3, 2, they have to go there, look. That's quite interesting, actually. If that's 3, 2, by Sudoku, they go in those squares. And then my yellow digit couldn't go here, actually. Okay, let me just have a look at that. If that's 3, 2, I can't put a low digit here anymore, can I? When I say a low digit, I mean a 1 or the 1 or the 2 that must exist in yellow. If that's a 1, that's a 3, and if that's a 2, it just breaks. So in fact, the yellow digit would have to go there. And that would be a 1 or a 2. Well, well, it couldn't be a 1, because that would be... Have I got this the right way? Yeah, that would be the 3. So it would have to be a 2 there. That would have to be a 4. 2, 4 would have to go in those squares. That would be a 5. That would be a 4. 2, 4. Hang on. That feels wrong. That feels the wrong way round. Hang on. 2, 4, 5, 4 means... Ah! Right. I can prove that... Right. I can do something. This is not 3, 2. Although this is complicated. Right. So... Let me try and explain this slowly. Okay, so yellow, which is a 1 or a 2, and I don't know which, has to go somewhere in this column. Now I'm going to claim it's in one of those squares. I think that is true, isn't it? So there's a 1 or a 2 in one of these. Now if this is 3, 2, I think it's legitimate to say this can neither be 1 nor 2, and that's right, because this is always the high side. So this is 1, this is 3, this is 2, it just breaks. So that's not yellow anymore. So this is definitely yellow, and it's definitely not 1. Because if it's 1, that is definitely 3. So it's definitely a 2 here. Now I think this breaks for a rather weird reason to do with that. If that's 2, we know this is now 4. We know this is now 5. We know this is now 4. And look, this top line is the high side. So these digits need to be lower than 2 and 4. That needs to be 1 and that needs to be 3, and that's most certainly broken. Yeah, I mean, you can, for any number of reasons. Oh, that's very lovely. That is very... Oh, well, I'm not saying... Well, it's very lovely because it means I can at least progress. So that's a 5 and that's a 6. And that meant something, didn't it, about the order of those, but let's not worry about that for the moment. Let's try and do some Sudoku. If we take 5 out of these, we take 9 out of those, because we know that on the blue lines we've got differences of 4. That is now not a 6, so this is not now a 2. That is not a 5, so that is not a 1. Yeah, but now... Oh, no, easier still. 6 is higher than 5. There is a knowledge bomb for you. So 6 is higher than 5. This is all the high digits, and this is all the low digits. So this has got to be the 1 in this column. This is the 9. That's not a 1 anymore, which means that's not a 5 anymore. Yeah, okay, but we also know, don't we, that these digits are now in this column. These digits are 1 higher than these digits. So does that help us to know things about the world? So if that's 7, that's 3, that's 6, that's 2, and now the world works. Yes, okay. Okay, well, 9 in this string of digits is definitely in those 2 squares, which means these 2 squares definitely include a 5. Well, we already know that, we can already see that. So there is a 5 in one of those cells. There's definitely a 6 up here, and there's a 6 here now, so there's definitely a 6 in one of these squares. Oh, this is peculiar, isn't it? Because I thought it would just... This would be sort of very powerful, but actually it's not really... It's not really opened the puzzle up to us, has it? No, is the answer to that. One of these is a 5, that's a 5. This is 1 greater. All of this is 1 greater than all of this. So, presumably... Well, what am I meant to do? What am I meant to do with this? You naughty puzzle. There's now no problem with this being a low digit, because this digit is under much less pressure. Although, No, and also this can still be a 1. No, it can't be a 1, can it? Oh, is there a more general point? Is there a more general point, which is that the yellow digit can never go here? I wonder if that is that the whole point of this? Sorry, okay, I'm going to come back and think about this again. So what I'm wondering is, if the yellow digit did go here, let's just examine that for a moment. We know we're now claiming this is a 1 or a 2, but we know that the orange stripes represent a difference of 1, don't we? So this would in fact be a 2 again, and that would definitely be a 4, and this would definitely break again, because this is now 5, this is now 4, and this needs to go downwards, and this can't go down. This is really big. This is really big. I'm so sorry I didn't see that, but I'm going to blame everything on the fact that I got interrupted. But now this can't be yellow at all. So in fact that is always yellow. That is always 1 or 2. There's a 1-2 pair in the column. This square is a 3 or a 4. And that must do something. Probably. There's a 3-4 pair in this column. I wonder if it's saying something more generic about the order of this as well. Maybe that is also an interesting thing I ought to understand. What was that caused by? It was caused by this being a 2-4 pair. No, but I'm not sure actually. I'm not sure that that is right, that there is some more general point that we can determine. That digit there is definitely fully yellowed. And the other digit is going to be a 3 or a 4, but that could go there, so we can't assume that goes there, otherwise we probably would be in luck. So, okay, so what do we do now? I don't know. I really don't know. Is there going to be... Oh, I'm sorry if you can all see this. I can well believe it, actually. Oh, here's a tiny point. 9 is in one of those 3. Oh, in fact, in one of those 2 squares. So 9 is either here or here. Yeah, that's... Oh, that's really easy. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to claim this can't be 9, because the orange line is going to make this be an 8, and that's going to break that square. So that is in fact a 9, which means... And that's on the green lines, which have a difference of 5. So that is a 4. And that is no longer a 9. And if that's no longer a 9, that is no longer a 4, which the corollary, which we've already sort of worked out, haven't we? Okay. So does this 9 now do something? I would love to know the order of this, because that feels like it would really matter, doesn't it? Because it's going to determine the direction of the orange lines in that box. This 4, oh yeah, that's big. So sorry, so that's got to be a 2, that's a 1, and that's a 3. I'm just pausing because I want to see what that's doing. Well, that's 2. That's got to be a 7, doesn't it? Because it's got to be 5 different. So this is a 6-8 pair. This is a 1-3 pair, which I suppose we sort of already knew. Well, we didn't know, but we sort of... Right, so what does that mean? Has that done dramatic things? These now don't include 3. So 3 is definitely in one of these squares. 3 we know lives with 7 on the blue line. So there is a 7 in one of those squares. So these don't include 7. And if this is 2 or 4, this is no longer 8, look. So that's come right down. That's 7 or 9, which means this is no longer 4. And it means this. Oh, that's fine, isn't it? It's well, we're getting closer, I think. Slowly. Slowly being the operative expression. Okay. So, it would be nice as well if any of these digits I was putting into these columns were affecting these 2 digits somehow. I do think there's likely to be something going on there that I'm just not seeing. Can I make better use of... I mean, that can't be... No, that can't be 9. 9 is in one of those cells. If 9 was here, that would be 9. That would tell us these were lower than these. Do I think that's my best guess as to what's going on? Maybe. 3 and 4 here. So if this is 5 now, this is 6. And this would be a 3-4 pair. Well, actually, that looks quite plausible, doesn't it? 3 in column 3 is definitely... Oh, yeah, that's interesting. I will make use of that. 3 in this column is definitely in this domino here. I don't really want to pencil mark it across the box, but it is definitely in one of those 2 squares by Sudoku. Now, we know, therefore, that 5... Ah, that's it. So 5 is in one of these 2 squares. And it can't be there, look. So that can't be the 3, because that would make that 3, 5 and break this square. Yeah, okay, so that's 3. So that's 5. And this can't be 2, so it must be 4. I really hope this goes the right way round now, because that's 5 and that's 4 by Sudoku. And it is going the right way round in the sense that all of these are going in the same direction, which gives us confidence that we understand what's going on. So this is 1, this is 9. Now that's given me a 1 by Sudoku there. That's on a blue line, so this is 5. Oh, please. Please work now. I've tried hard. That's a 1. Again by Sudoku. Come on. Come on, we must be close. Right, we know what these digits are. 1, 2, 3, 4. They are 5 and 6. So these are 7 and 8. That's good. That means that's known. That's 6. Is that going to tell me how this arrow thing works? I know this is the higher end. And these are 1 differences. Yeah, that's fine. So that's 7. This is 2. And that's 3. And everything is increasing by 1. That's got to be a 2 because that should increase by 1. That is a 2 by 2 to which the rules apply. Fantastic. Right, so now that's an 8 by Sudoku. That is a 4. That should be a 9, which means that's a 5. Oh my goodness, there is now a semblance of a chance I will finish the puzzle. And that frankly is just relief, because I was very, very worried that I would completely lose track of everything, but actually it's going okay. I don't know how long it's taken me extra, but it's taken 2, 3, 9 into the... That's a 3 by Sudoku. That's a 3, that's a 1. And now we know the differences here were what? They were massive, weren't they? They were the massive differences. So that's 8, that's 6. These 2 squares are 2 and 9. So in this row, we've not put in 7 and 8, and we can do it by using an old friend called Sudoku. These are 2 and 9. That's 9. That's 2. Now, what were the differences? 1s, and the top digits were higher. So 1, 8 is how that must look. What a puzzle this is, by the way. I mean, how do you come up with these patterns? Phistomefel again, just demonstrating awesome. Oh no, I've broken it. No, okay, that's because that's not 6, 7. I've already got a 6 here. Oh, that was horrible. Okay, so this is 7, 8. I don't like that. So this is 6, 7. Okay, so 6, 7, 8, 7. Please don't have broken it. These squares here are 3 and 4. And that should be an 8. So these squares are 2 and 3, which we can do. These squares are 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh. That's not resolved. Okay, let's try something else. Let's try... Where should we go? At the bottom of this column? 4, 5. No. Okay, so these squares are 2, 3, 6, 7. So there's a 2 in the corner. 3, 6, 7 triple left over, which I don't think I can resolve. So this column needs 3, 5 and 6. That's 5 or 6. Could get a 3 in the corner up there. 5, 6 pair in this row. That's again a slightly desperate thing to spot. 4, 7, 8, 9. So this is 4 or 7. Oh, it's not 7, is it? That's a naked single. Sorry, I didn't see that. So that's 4. This is 3, 5 or 6, and it's 3 or 6 then. So there's now a 3, 5, 6 triple in row 1. So I need 4, 7 and 8. That's a naked single 7. So that should be a 4 if all of that logic was correct. Oh, I could have got that probably from Sudoku if I'd done it in a different order. These two squares are an 8 and a 9. So that's a 9 and that's a 2. Now in this column I need a 1, 6 pair, which I can do. And is that going to do things over there? Well, not quite. Oh, I could use the rule. Use the rule, Simon. It will help you, maybe. 2 goes there. 5 and 7 here. Oh, I don't like that. Oh, it's going to be the rule here, isn't it? So which side was greater? This side was greater. Oh, but that works. Oh no, have I reached to some sort of deadly weird pattern in this puzzle? It's possible. Oh no, here, these were 2 differences, weren't they? So that gets me a 6, 3, 5. That gets me a 3, 3, 4. 4, 5. It is resolving. I don't know how, but it is. Oh, I think I've done it. Let's see. Oh, thank goodness for that. That is absolutely startlingly brilliant. What an extraordinary puzzle. What an extraordinary conception. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. This is like, I don't know, this is what I imagine pure mathematicians relish when they see Fermat's last theorem or something. They can just understand it at some level that's profound. And I think that's what Phistomefel does with numbers in Sudoku grids. He understands them at a level that is profound. I mean, it's so weird that diagonal 2x2 boxes always cause a number. It always causes a big number to be on one side of the line, you know, and then small numbers on the other side of the line. The way it's being used in this puzzle is quite magnificent. It is quite magnificent. I look forward to the comments on this. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind, and especially when they give Phistomefel the most immense amount of praise. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.